What's up, guys? Hokage Puya here. AFC, to my AFC subscribers, don't worry. I did not forget about you guys. I did not forget. Yes, I haven't talked about AFC in a minute since the last World Cup qualifying matches a couple months ago. But you guys, don't worry. I'm back, distracted by the Euros. I was distracted by Copa America. But now we got to talk about the World Cup, AFC World Cup qualifying, round 3 group draw. The groups were drawn, I think, a month ago, and I saw it, and I told myself in the back of my mind, all right, I got to make a video talking about this when I'm ready to make a video talking about this, and I am ready to make a video talking about this. So the draw happened about a month ago. Interesting results in the draw. One group having the same 3 or 4 teams that we get every year. I mean, it makes me think that these draws are rigged. I mean, I don't know how it's actually possible that it keeps happening. We'll get to that group when we talk about it. And I think, you guys, we could get some upsets here. I think some teams with the form they're in can directly qualify to the next World Cup. And if you don't know how AFC World Cup qualifying round 3 works, so there's 3 groups of 6. The top two from each group, so 6 teams from AFC will qualify directly, right? And the 3rd and 4th place teams from each group will go to the 4th round where they play like a playoff thing to get to the World Cup. So I think when we look at these groups right now, you guys, some teams can nick a 1st or 2nd place and make their first World Cup in a long time or make their first World Cup ever. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens when the first matches roll around. Let me put the groups on the screen. Group A. So in Group A, Iran, Kyrgyzstan, North Korea, Qatar, UAE, United Arab Emirates, God, whatever it's called, Uzbekistan. Face value, you guys, the teams everyone will be picking to get out 1st and 2nd in this group are Iran, Qatar, and I think probably Uzbekistan to really challenge them for that 1st and 2nd place spot. Maybe even UAE. And most people will say, okay, Kyrgyzstan and North Korea are the weak teams in this group, which is true. Kyrgyzstan, if you watch my other videos, I'm surprised they even made it this far to the 3rd round. I really didn't think they would get out of the 2nd round. I didn't think so. They proved me wrong. I look like an idiot. Let's move on. North Korea. They're here. How crazy would it be if North Korea, they haven't played in a World Cup since 2010. The first World Cup they play again since then is in the freaking United States of America. Are you telling me that we're going to get Kim Jong-un and potentially Donald Trump in the stands watching a game together? Nah, man. That's meme material. Bro, nah. No way. But anyway, face value. Iran and Qatar, the strongest teams here. And most people will choose them to get challenged for the 1st and 2nd spots. Now, I would agree. Now, the pessimistic side of me as an Iranian, as a Persian, the pessimistic side of me will tell you Iran has not been that impressive since the Asia Cup. And Gallinoi has not gone on his word and has not started to play more younger talents. He is still sticking to the old guard and giving them more games when we should be using these games up until 2026 to play the younger players, to give them chances, and to build a fresher team in 2 years' time. But Gallinoi is not sticking to his word so far. After 4 or 5 games since the Asia Cup, he is not sticking to his guns. And he has relied in the last games on the old guard. So if Iran continue to play their old guard, let's talk about it. Iran might not be guaranteed 1st and 2nd place in this group. I do think they will most likely get it, but I'm sorry, the pessimistic side of me, it's telling me that don't be so sure. You guys, in football, never be sure. Nothing is ever certain in football. Nothing. Qatar also, 2 back-to-back defending champions of Asia. You guys, they have to be at that World Cup. Qatar, you have to make it. You cannot be the back-to-back AFC Asia Cup champions, the freaking Asian champions. You cannot not make it to the World Cup. It's stupid when the continental winner doesn't make it to the World Cup. It's just weird. Italy, the last Euros winners before Spain, didn't make it to the last World Cup. It's just weird. Where's the defending champion of Europe? It was just a strange situation. Qatar, this time, you guys got to make it. Al-Mozali, Akram Afif, you got your guys that always show up for the national team. No excuses. You guys are bringing in and giving Brazilians green cards, Argentinians green cards to come play for your team. No excuses, Qatar. You have to make it to the next round. But if there's a team in this group that I think can nick a first or second place off of Iran and Qatar, the team that's the most likely to do so is Uzbekistan. We know Uzbekistan. I've been talking about them for all my AFC videos during the Asia Cup. It's a tough team to beat. The Uzbekistan team is always organized, and they will never make a game easy for you. They will always be there and make your life a living hell on the football pitch. And Uzbekistan is probably the third best team in this group, and I think they have the ability, if the results go their way, to get a first or second place in this group over Iran or over Qatar. Now, after Uzbekistan, you have UAE, North Korea, and Kyrgyzstan. So UAE is definitely the fourth strongest team in this group. Definitely the fourth strongest team. I see there's no reason for the UAE, Uzbekistan, Qatar, or Iran to finish below Kyrgyzstan and North Korea. All respect to Kyrgyzstan and North Korea. General Kim Jong-un, respect. I will never disrespect you, General Kim Jong-un. My family needs to stay safe, General Kim Jong-un. So please, leave him alone. Leave him alone. None of those four teams should be finishing below North Korea and Kyrgyzstan. I think most likely North Korea will get last. If North Korea does not get last in this group, I will do a dare or something. Put in the comments what I think I should do if North Korea don't get last. But I'm predicting North Korea to get last. Kyrgyzstan, UAE. Now, Kyrgyzstan has surprised me, but I think this is the end of the road. No way these guys get to a World Cup. I don't really want them to be representing Asia at a World Cup. I don't think they're up to World Cup quality. I'm sorry. It's just the facts. I don't think they are a World Cup quality team. That's just what I truly believe. Now, out of the UAE, Uzbekistan, Iran, and Qatar, any of those teams are World Cup quality in my opinion, but Iran and Qatar are the strongest team in this group. They have to get first and second place. But however, I said, Uzbekistan, don't sleep on them. They can nick a first or second place in this group. And if they don't, it's okay because third and fourth, like I said, go on to the fourth round and play like some sort of playoff to get to the World Cup. Because obviously, 48-team World Cup, I think, I don't know. I don't remember how many extra places the Asian Federation got, but more Asian teams are going to the World Cup than ever. So let's ball, man. Let's go. Interesting group. Iran, don't fail me. Iran, get first. Let's stick it to the Qataris. Get first. I want to beat Qatar so bad in both games. No excuses, Iran. You need to get first. And honestly, yeah, no excuses for Qatar. If Qatar don't make it to the World Cup, ban them. Take away their Asia Cups because there is no excuse for Qatar to not make it as top two in this group. If Qatar gets third or fourth place, that's a risky game and it's a failure. 100%. So Qatar, Iran, let's get the job done. Uzbekistan, UAE. I have my eyes on you guys. I'm not sleeping on them. Next group, Group B. Interesting group. Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Palestine, and South Korea. Now, obviously, everyone is going to be thinking South Korea first place, and most likely that's what's going to happen. I think South Korea has so much quality in their team, and the fact that they actually have a South Korean coach this time, I think that even when you saw their last Asia Cup, the World Cup qualifying games after the Asian Cup, you already saw the improvements. You already saw the improvements with the South Korean coach who's able to actually communicate to the players. Not through any translator or anything. The team already looked more cohesive for South Korea. So the fact that they have a South Korean coach, I have confidence in. them. If Jurgen Klinsmann was still here, I'd say, okay, they're not a guaranteed first. I would still predict them to get second, maybe. But South Korean coach, South Korea, they're solid. Heung-min Son is probably going to score the goals again. Hwang Yi-chan, Kang In Lee, all those guys. Kim Min-jae in the back. You guys, they're okay. Now, second place. When I'm looking at second place here, I'm looking at three teams. I'm looking at Jordan, obviously. Jordan, finalist of the Asia Cup. I'm looking at Palestine, and I'm looking at Iraq. If I was to choose a team from this group that I favor most to get second place, it's a very tough decision between Iraq and Jordan, but I would favor Jordan. Jordan is high flying, high goal scoring, so much confidence in this team, so much aura in this team, a belief in this team that grew during that Asian Cup, getting to the freaking final. Yes, they lost, but getting to the final is an amazing achievement for them. Jordan, I think I favor to get through automatically to the World Cup over Iraq. Now, I understand Iraq, tough team, Hussein always scoring the goals for them. But I think when it comes to those clinch matchups where Jordan and Iraq play each other, which is a big, but you guys, I am tuning in for those games, Iraq versus Jordan. And if it's too early, I'm watching the highlights, or I'm gonna have to try and find the full game, because you guys, Iraq, Jordan, those are gonna be some good games, man. With the World Cup on the line, those are gonna be good and highly intense, highly competitive games. So Iraq and Jordan, probably I'm favoring to battle for second. And then, you got your Kuwait, Oman, Palestine. Now, Palestine, what a job to get here in the third round with everything everything going on there, and their fight against Israel. I just can't believe they're in round 3. I can't even believe the way they performed at the Asia Cup, but I just cannot believe these guys that are in round 3. And how amazing would it be if they got to the World Cup? Unbelievable if they do that. But I'm sorry, but I just think at a certain point, the road has to come to an end. And I think Palestine, credit to them, but I don't think they're better than Oman. I don't think they're better than Jordan or Iraq. Against Kuwait, let's see. And they're obviously not better than South Korea. So I'm looking at Palestine. I think Palestine could potentially, if everything really goes well for Palestine, they could get a 4th place and they could have a chance in the 4th round to get to the World Cup. But I just don't see it, because if I'm looking at initial reaction of how I think this group ends, I think South Korea get first. I think Jordan gets second. I think Iraq gets third. And I think Oman would get 4th. Kuwait 5th. It's a battle between Kuwait and Palestine for 5th and 6th, but I'll go Palestine 5th, Kuwait 6th. But I'm high on Jordan, right? But the way Jordan plays, I think I'm high on him, right? But they are the most risky team here to end up actually being horrible. Because what happens if they're not able to reignite that attacking flair? They show up and have a couple of off days against these teams. An Oman team that can challenge them. Iraq, South Korea, who I would say have stronger teams player by player. I think Jordan is the team, when you play such an attacking style, is the team most susceptible to having a bad day at the office. So Jordan, as much as I favor them and I believe in them and I want them to get all the automatic qualification, first or second in the group, they are the riskiest team. And I know a lot of people on YouTube will be putting their trust in them to get to the World Cup, but keep in mind, the football they play, a couple of bad days at the office, and Jordan is fighting for 4th place. That's football. So interesting group. I just can't wait, guys. I love AFC. I think, like I said it about AFCON when AFCON was going on. AFC is so underrated because it's all about Europe, Copa America, even CONCACAF, USA, Mexico. People don't pay attention. Outsiders don't really pay attention to AFC. AFC is exciting, man. Look at these. These groups are tight. These groups really are tight. Yes, each group has their own heavyweights, but these groups are tight. And AFC qualifying always has tons of drama. I cannot wait for this group. South Korea, if I'm going to give my official prediction, South Korea 1st, Jordan 2nd, Iraq 3rd, Oman 4th, Palestine 5th, Kuwait 6th. And actually, I don't think I did it for the other group. I'm going to give my official Group A prediction. I think I'll go Iran 1st, Qatar 2nd, Uzbekistan 3rd, UAE 4th, Kyrgyzstan, North Korea 5th, Kyrgyzstan last. Screw it. I'll give North Korea the place. I'll give him. I'll be nice. And then last group, Group C, the 3rd group. This is the one I'm talking about. How many times are we going to get Saudi, Japan, and Australia in a round 3 group? How many times are we going to see these guys in the same group in qualifying? How many times? I think it's the last 3 or 4 World Cups that these teams in the final round have been drawn against each other. So don't get me wrong. It's cool. Big teams in a group, tons of big matchups. But you guys, it's suspicious. It's suspicious. It is. That's all I'm going to say. It's suspicious. Anyway, Group C. Australia, Bahrain, China, Indonesia, Japan, Saudi. Now, the Cinderella story here, if Indonesia do something, if Indonesia can just get a fourth or third place and go to that playoff and get to the World Cup, what a freaking story that would be for Indonesia. Indonesia, I'm watching these guys because, yes, they had to battle, they had to trudge through and get to the third round, but now they're here. Indonesia, I believe this Indonesia team has a belief in them that the World Cup is right there. We are games away from making our first World Cup. This Indonesia team, guys, I think there's a belief there. There's a belief that they can make it. I think Indonesia's competition, because let's be honest, guys, Japan will get first in this group. They have been amazing since the Asia Cup. Such depth, the squad with the most depth in AFC. Moriyasu is able to do 2 different starting 11s and win 5-1 both times. That's crazy. That's crazy. Japan's going to get first, without a doubt. I think Australia, listen, I haven't been impressed with Saudi. Asia Cup, they were disappointing. I didn't like the football they were playing. Since the Asia Cup, they've just haven't been that impressive. If I'm going off form, and I actually truly believe Australia, they'll make it to the World Cup. How many World Cups have these guys made it to? They have become World Cup regulars, Australia. And I think they'll get second. So Japan first, Australia second for me is without a doubt what's going to happen. I could see it flipped where Australia somehow gets second and Japan get first if results go their way. But without a doubt no doubt in my mind, Japan and Australia will get top 2 in this group. When we get to the 3rd and 4th place spots, I think Bahrain don't get me wrong, Bahrain has done a great job to get to this stage, right? Awesome job, Bahrain. This is the end of the road. I think it's the same thing as Kyrgyzstan and North Korea. This is the end of the road for you guys. I don't think they play the brand of football. I don't even want them at the World Cup. I don't like the football they play, to be honest. I don't think they'd be successful at the World Cup, and I don't think they match up well against the teams in this group. So I do think Bahrain will get last place, and then you have, it's closer than people think, but you do have a close 3-way battle for 3rd and 4th place, China, Indonesia, and Saudi Arabia. Now, a lot of people looking at surface value on this group will say, oh, Saudi's on the level of Australia and Japan, and due to the draw, one of those big teams will unluckily be put in 3rd and 4th and go to the 4th round, right? You guys, I don't think Saudi is on the level of Japan and Australia. They're not. Saudi Arabia is not on the same level as Australia and Japan in terms of squad quality and in terms of the football they actually play. Managers, Saudi, Moriyasu's up there, but Roberto Mancini, guys. Roberto Mancini is Roberto Mancini. You know what I mean? But squad-wise in the football they play, they're not on Japan and Australia's level. They are closer to China and Indonesia, in my opinion, Saudi Arabia, at this point. Now, their squad is a lot stronger than China's, a lot stronger than Indonesia's. It's kind of the battle with China and Saudi. It's the battle of China, the country that failed a Super League, and Saudi, who has had a relatively successful Super League so far after one season of bringing in all these top players like Ronaldo and Neymar and all those guys, right? But I think Saudi's quality, now, this is my belief. Logically, you'd think if the Saudi League, when the Saudi national team, all of their players are from the Saudi League, and the Saudi League has pumped so much money into the league to bring players from Europe, to bring European coaches, you'd think the Saudi players would play better, that the level of Saudi Arabian national team would raise. But that's not the case. They haven't taken those steps that I expected of them with all the money pumped into their league and all the money that their teams have and the training that they get. They haven't. So Saudi, yes, their team is strong and stronger than China and Indonesia, but they don't play the football. I think Indonesia plays better football than Saudi Arabia. So when Indonesia and Saudi collide, I'm not surprised if an Indonesia beats Saudi and Indonesia finished 3rd or 4th. You understand my argument? Or what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised if an Indonesia beats Saudi. Now, Indonesia definitely can challenge Saudi. China is an interesting one because, listen, China was horrible at the last Asia Cup, don't get me wrong, but I think it was against Tajikistan where they should have had a goal They should have had a goal. It was unjustly ruled out, in my opinion. And I think China, if that result had gone their way, could have potentially had a better Asia Cup. The thing with China is their players are all in the Chinese league. They have nobody in Europe anymore. Wu Lei is not in Europe anymore. He's back in the Chinese league scoring the goals. But they have Wu Lei. Wu Lei is a consistent goal scorer for them. So China, man, if they can make a World Cup, that would be crazy. If they make, it's like not like North Korea, but if China make a World Cup and it's in the United States, that's just crazy. And the Chinese population here, they would be out there. They would have huge crowds there here to watch them play at the World Cup. But this is interesting, man. So Indonesia, the story is there, the football is there, the rise, how they're playing. I have to favor them to get third or fourth place. If I'm gonna do my group prediction, and this will be the end of the video, I have to go Japan first, Australia second. I'll go Saudi third, and it would be between China and Indonesia to get fourth, to get to that fourth round. I think it's Indonesia fourth, China fifth, and sorry Bahrain, but I think Bahrain gets sixth. All these groups, man, super interesting. I can't wait for them to start. I can't wait to watch the games. Unfortunately for me, the games I think are always at 3, 4, 5 a.m. I gotta sleep, guys. I gotta get my beauty sleep. So I'm gonna be watching the highlights. I'll be waking up early for the Iran games. I'll probably do watch longs for the Iran games because what else are we gonna do, right? What else are we gonna do? We got nothing to do out here. If you guys like the video, like it. This has been Okage Puya. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, my Asian brothers.